I sometimes I'm very present and sometimes I'm not present at all. I see you want to say something, River. River?
I'm sorry, what was the last part of that?
Well, I was saying sometimes I'm very present and sometimes I'm not present at all. You look like you wanted to say something.
No, I mean I can comment on that if you want me to, but I think every medium channels in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, we're all going to describe sometimes the very same thing differently, and you just have to find a way to make your own connections and worry less about how someone else is doing it, and just get to know yourself. You have to find the silence. You've got to center, and you've got to be willing to let it unfold. A lot of people push and get very frustrated, or they try to push gifts and abilities, and I've always said you've got to bend to them. I don't control anything. I'm bending I'm bending to these different waves of information, and so I think that's a good place to start anyway.
All right, that's very good. Good answer. Now, I have two more questions. Do you want me to ask them, or do you want to get on with the interview? It's up to you guys.
We can do whatever you guys want to do. We can answer questions for our listeners, too. That's important.
You know what? I have a question, and I'm going to pose it to our guest, Michelle. Actually, this is a question that was asked of Victor, but I'm going to send it to Michelle, and Victor, you can also answer it. And the question is, and this comes from Robert, and Robert wants to know, why is it that people who have it all can't be thankful for what they have? They always want more. And people who have nothing count their blessings every day and are very giving. That's a great question.
Well, I used to be like that, and I have to say, because I have all the physical numbers, I still carry a little bit of that with me. I definitely think that in the beginning, when I was working corporate and the whole corporate game and money, power, greed, the whole 9 yards, I was in that mode for a long time, and I think it has to do with, again, your perspective, you guys were just talking about that very thing, and I think, River, you were mentioning that about the channeling, and it's so true. You need to find your unique energy and how you do it, because not everyone's going to be the same, and it's the same thing. It's like, what are you grateful for, and how do you create, all of those things. I mean, it's a very personal thing, but at the same time, I also think that we need to get our heads around the fact that, number one, I feel like we're all new aged out. I definitely think that we have this new age complex where we've gone the other way, which is like, oh, we don't need to eat and we're going to all ascend any time. And, until I see that, I still need to eat and I still need to pay my bills and I still would like to have that Bentley that I want to drive. So until you can show me that I'm going to ascend and I don't need to eat, then sure, great. But I just definitely think that it's a personal thing, and, being grateful, that's something that you should be anyway. And no matter what, I think no matter what place you're in, you should really be grateful for where you're at, because no matter where I've been in my life, I've always been grateful for what I've had, because I think growing up really, really poor and not having a lot, that now that I do have a lot and I've had a lot of success in my life, I just have to give back and give thanks and say, you know what, I don't have to be here. I don't have to be in this place. I mean, I moved from a small town in East Coast Canada of like 33,000 people, more trees than people, and you're talking like really, really rural, where people are wearing duck sweaters and moccasins. And now I'm living in West Hollywood, where Alexander McQueen and the Dash store, the Kardashian store, is like I could spit on them. And so this is something I created myself, but it was all out of gratitude. It was all out of, I'm so grateful for where I am, but I feel like I'm deserving of it too. So I think there's a two-sided thing to that, where you need to be grateful, but you also feel like you need to feel like you're worth it. That you deserve what you're getting and you deserve what is coming to you.
Michelle, I think that's a wonderful answer. I think I agree with you completely on that. And I just want to say that Michelle is not only physically beautiful, but her soul is beautiful, and she's really a special person. It's a privilege to have her with us tonight. And I also want to, you're very welcome. And I also want to say that, first of all, the question, I think, lends to generalization. And I think not everyone who has a lot is that way, and not everyone who is impoverished acts that way either. But I can only share from my personal life lesson. We had a real tough time when I was a kid. And I've never been in a situation in my life when I've ever had a lot of wealth or a lot of surplus. But I can say that the lesson I've learned in life is that we've never wanted for anything we truly needed. And when you have that in your life, you have extreme gratitude because you recognize that no matter where you are or what you're doing, the universe is giving you exactly what you need and that you're not wanting for anything, and I'm grateful for that.
Great answers, great answers.
Said.
All right, well, listen, we've been talking to our guests now for about 20 minutes, and nobody knows who the hell we're talking to. River, why don't you introduce our guest?
I would love to. This is Michelle Arbroad that you're listening to, an internationally recognized celebrity numerologist, author, inspirational speaker, and radio TV host. Michelle is the author of The Energy of Words, Use the Vibration of Language to Manifest the Life You Desire, and Soul Numbers, Decipher the Message from Your Inner Self to Successfully Navigate Life. I'm sure there's some other things I don't know about her, and I'm very excited to do this interview. So thank you very much, Michelle, for joining us. It's been a pleasure so far.
It's always my pleasure, and you guys are great, and it's a great show, and I love Chris, and it's the first time I've met you, I think, River. I'm not sure if you were on the last show or not, but I met Victor before, too, and you're all great, and it's a great energy on the show, so I always say yes when Chris asks me, for sure. But, I jack of all trades, master of none, but I definitely get around the blog, if you know what I mean. I definitely do whatever I can to help people in terms of finding the truth. I think that's the essence of whatever I'm doing, is I'm always looking to help people find their truth because, further to what Victor was saying when he said, they didn't have a lot when he was growing up, likewise, I didn't have a lot at all. I mean, I remember having, in Canada, it gets really cold in Canada. I'm talking, minus 50 Celsius. And I remember distinctly some episodes where I was sick, sleeping in my snowsuit, just to stay warm because we ran out of oil, those kinds of things. And, I remember as a child always saying to myself, I'm going to do something great. And I never knew why I would say that to myself. Even when I was as young as 5 or 6, I can remember saying that in first grade, saying, I want to do something great. And sure enough, I've achieved a lot in my life thus far, and I hope to achieve a lot more, but it's just been this energy that has followed me for a long time that I just believe that we can have whatever we want and we can achieve whatever we want. So I've been really kind of gung-ho with what I've been doing and what I've been achieving, and if I don't have 100 million zillion things on my plate at any given time, I'm not happy. And I have to have that many projects because I really am a very active go-getter in that respect.
Well, I just want to say, let everybody know that we didn't have a guest this week, and actually we had a guest, but they canceled on me. And I called Michelle, and immediately she said yes. And I always appreciate that because you never know what people have to do, and on such short notice for her to say yes, and literally just a couple of days ago, we're just really happy, that you're here with us, and we appreciate it. And
Michelle is a great friend to both Second Sight and Paranormal Lounge, and we love her to pieces. Period.
Yep. Thank you, Michelle. Fantastic.
You guys are great. As long as I have wine on a Friday night, I'm cool. I usually don't book anything on Fridays, so that's exactly why I'm always available. But I'm always available for you guys anyway because I love you guys. But I've got some white wine here, and I've got some paper to do some readings, and I'm cool.
Very good.
Right. Well, I'm drinking a little Yuengling beer, and I think River's drinking a little wine, and I think Victor's drinking some coffee, and we're good to go. So what I'm thinking, Victor's a coffee drinker.
I live on coffee, Michelle. I have coffee in my veins.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've got wine in mine, so.
There you go.
But I'm East Coast, and I have a little bit of a get-together here, so if you hear anybody kind of, talking loudly or some dogs barking, then that's...
Listen, if you got to bring them on the show, bring them on.
Well, yeah, it's West Hollywood. You're talking Friday night. You have to have a party on Friday night in West Hollywood. If you don't, you're a loser. So.
Okay, now, Michelle, I got to call you on something. You say you love us, but you've never invited me to Hollywood for a party.
You're always invited. Of course you are. If you, I've seen you around the block. I've seen you, you can drink you could probably drink me under the table, which is unusual because most people can't. So let's bring it. I mean, if you want to come to West Hollywood, there's always room for you there.
All right, well, you remember you said that.
Hollywood Nights, Hollywood Hills. She was looking all right with her diamonds and thrills or something like that, whatever.
The Hollywood Hills, yes. Yeah, I have a friend in Hollywood Hills. I'm in West Hollywood, but the Hollywood Hills, yeah, that's where the Hollywood sign is.
Yep.
So, you know what I want to do? I mean, we have a bunch of questions for you, but why don't we jump right into a reading? Would you like to do that?
Sure, yeah, I'm game for that.
All right, Victor, who's our first reading?
I think our first reading tonight is our wonderful friend Kathy, and her date of birth is 3/3/58.
Oh, wow. Well, the double threes right there just get me. Wow. Okay, hold on. Just plug this in here. Right. Okay, so really top-heavy in terms of emotions, in terms of mental energy. So if you could look at her body, it'd be a stick body. It'd be like a big head, big heart, and a little tiny stick body. So she doesn't have a lot of grounding in terms of her physical energy at all, but she's very thinking. And what was her name again?
Kathy.
Kathy, okay. All right, so Kathy, you are very misunderstood in terms of your energy because you've got double threes, so you're definitely a tangent thinker in terms of where your ideas are coming from. So it doesn't mean that you're crazy or that, your ideas aren't valid. Not at all. It's actually the opposite. It's that your energy and your thoughts and your ideas are very advanced in the sense that you see things quicker and easier than other people, but then the other person is like, huh? Because they're not catching up to you, because you're almost like computer-like in terms of your thinking, because those double threes really bring you to a tangent, because 3 is a number of imagination and memory. So when you have double threes like that, it really brings you on a tangent, so you really can be misunderstood. You also have a single 1, which means that you're not able to really verbally express how you feel and what you need and what you want in relationships. So I really suggest that you write it out. So if you want to tell someone how you really feel, do it in an email or do it in a letter, because it'll say, there's all of me. Instead of saying, I'm going to do this verbally, I'm going to say, I'm going to tell this person how I really feel, because you're not really going to be able to do it unless you write it out. That's the most beneficial way for you to be able to do it. Let me just see what personal year you're in. Okay, so 6, 8, 9. Oh, so this is career for you. This is definitely a career year for you. I don't know if you've been feeling that, but let me see. 10, 18, 23. Oh, so you're an 11. You've always been really backwards in terms of, the 11s are always like here when they should be way over here, that kind of energy. And they take a little bit longer than the other life paths to really figure out where they belong or where they're supposed to be. So you should be right on par. You should be right on center with finding your life path and your life purpose right about now. And I know that sounds really crazy and really messed up to be 1958 and saying, this is my life path and my life purpose right now, but it's so true. And let me just see, 8, 9, 10, 14, 5. Okay, so you would be, let's just see here, 25, 9, 14, 34, 9, 43. How old are you now? Well, 1958, it would make you 9. You must have had some sort of career change right around 43, maybe a little bit sooner, like 41, 42, 43. Somewhere around there, you would have had a career path change. And this energy, whatever it is that you've been changing career-wise, has led you to this moment, or has led you to this place where you're changing careers, or you're changing trajectory with what you're focusing on career-wise. I don't know if you feel that right now or if that's something that you've been focusing on, but definitely. You also have a very strong energy of the natural counselor. You definitely see the bigger picture for other people. You can connect the dots really easily for other people where they can't see it for themselves. So they may come in and say, Kathy, I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to go. I don't know what where I should move next, and this and that and the other thing. And you come in and say, well, I see it like this, this, and this. And it's like, yeah, that's right. I didn't even see it like that. So that's really one of your gifts, one of your strong suits, is like the natural counselor, for sure.
Thank you. And on that note, I just want to say you're listening to the Paranormal Lounge on the D.T.M. Wicked Radio Network.